Hey, welcome to another episode of Film vs. Movie. I'm your co-host, Belton DeLaine-Facey.
My name's Chris Shurr.
And on this podcast, we watch the films that have been slandered, desecrated, and tai chi'd into the spirit world by public opinion. And usually, one of us tells you why it's actually pretty good.
And usually one of us tells you why it's a piece of shit.
But today is a special episode. It's our 50th episode special.
Woo!
Yeah, so today is like an NBA All-Star game. None of us feel like playing defense.
Yeah, we've been too generous.
Yeah.
Every single episode we come on here, and with generosity in our heart, we defend a truly awful movie.
Yeah, I know Chris and I have discussed this. It is sometimes like being a criminal defense attorney for someone who clearly did it. Yeah, so we are giving ourselves a break. We picked a special film we're giving ourselves a break on. And to help us, we have on a special guest. He is a friend of the show as well as a touring magician. Please welcome Annanya George.
Heyo, that's me. Hello. Hey.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and would you do us the honors of telling everyone the film we'll be discussing today?
Yes, it completely passed my mind because it's so forgettable. This is The Last Airbender, 2010, M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes, the adaptation of the first season of the hit TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender. And now, Annanya, would you like to tell everyone why we invited you onto this episode specifically?
Yes, because I'm the dance monkey, because I have not seen Avatar the anime or read the manga. So I literally have nothing to compare it to except for the movie alone, which I think is quite devious of you guys, honestly.
Yeah, this is absolutely the worst way to introduce you to this franchise. And like,
fair enough.
I think it also says how little you know that you said or the manga. It is not based on the manga.
It is not a manga. Yeah, there we go. There you have it.
No.
I assumed it was based on a manga.
It's Western animation. You get just the season and it sells toys, and then you never really hear from it again.
So it's like Huntrix. Or Huntix.
Or are you talking about K-pop Demon Hunters?
No. I'm talking about Huntix or Huntrix. It used to be the show back in like the early 2000s, but it's just straight up Western animation. I think it was French, but whatever. It's just my very niche animation knowledge.
Okay.
The banging theme song, though.
I just know Huntrix as the band from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Dude, I'm gonna have to send you the show. It was the shit. They had like these little tiny amulets with spirits in them, and it was like Pokemon meets whatever. But anyway, we're here to talk about The Last Airbender.
Yeah. Now we're gonna get into the plot line. Annanya, let us know if there are any plot points we touch on that just did not make sense to you.
Okay, sounds good.
Is it just gonna be all of them?
No, well, the weird part. Can I give my big issue with this film?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think all the film's issues can be solved with just like one statement at the start of the movie, which is previously on The Last Airbender, and then you have the rest of the movie, and it works.
It's funny you say that because, like, going off of the plot line, it does start with both an opening scroll and narration to explain the world.
Which it shouldn't. Anyway, keep going.
So the beginning, it does emulate the opening intro of the show where, they have benders performing the different elements. And then the show does open with Katara's narration, except in the show, it's accompanied by visuals, but
Yeah, it kind of shows the horror of it. Like, you can do the crawling scroll on its own, but then everyone's like, oh, they're trying to be Star Wars. But together, you just start off, you're like, oh, they think we're really dumb.
yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan would tell me that, like, I'm white because he probably thinks that I don't know that.
Dude, I can't tell you how much it pissed me off that so much information was given an exposition, and the next second is when we saw it. Like it just wouldn't let me discover shit, and it just fucking freaked me out because I think Aang's name is revealed in a voiceover, and then like 2 scenes later, she goes, "Oh, what's your name, by the way?" And I'm just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
No. So I have this theory that they shot the movie, or they're like in the middle of shooting the movie, and they shot that, and then they're getting to that scene, and they're like, "Oh, Katara doesn't know Aang's name," and they're like, "Well, what if we just assume they learned it at some point?" And M. Night's like, "No, the audience will crucify introductions we don't see. What is this?"
Yeah, cause it's funny because that's like a CinemaSins level of criticism where it's like, oh, we don't see them actually like say each other's name, therefore they don't know each other. It's like, no, you guys just traveled from your home to a completely different destination with this person. I'm assuming you did general introductions. Otherwise, you have no assessment of stranger danger.
Oh my god. No, that's right. Because the first time we see them actually ask each other's names is on a completely different island in a completely different location. So in the world of the movie, they got onto this big giant panda thingy, flew all the way across the world, and then went, "Oh, by the way, what is your name?" That's like if I ran into a random person on the subway, hung out with them, and then we got to the same location and went, "Oh yeah, by the way, my name is Annanya George. Nice to meet you."
I feel like it's more equivalent to if you got into someone's car and they drove you to a different state, and then you're like, "Oh, by the way, what is your name?"
Much better yet. By the way, where are we going?
I'm just like imagining Katara's just like, "Wait, I didn't get explicit information. So what are you, like a boy or something? What are those tattoos on your head?" Not what kind of tattoos are those tattoos? Like,
yeah.
So that's her name, Katara. I have her down in my notes as Water Girl.
Sokka says Katara's name, I think. I'm surprised Sokka didn't call Katara little sis. Like, that's the level. "What's up, big bro? Hey there, little sis." Like,
so that's the brother's name, Sokka. I just have brother.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure like half the names you wrote down are just wrong.
In fairness to you,
yes,
that's what we do when we watch movies. I'll be like, I'll always have the actor who's playing the main character, and then it'll get less specific. I'll be like, yeah, it was Tom Holland's brother's friend that did that thing. And Belton will be like, "You mean Jim?"
My favorite is Agamemnon. I have Agamemnon in my notes as the big emperor guy. And that's it. He's just Agamemnon.
All right, we are getting a bit ahead of ours. So like,
sorry,
it's fine. So after the opening exposition, Katara and Sokka free Aang from the iceberg. Zuko sees the resulting beam and goes towards the Southern Water Tribe. Aang surrenders himself to Zuko. Zuko gives him a test to confirm he's the Avatar. Then he escapes with Katara and Sokka, who bring Appa, the giant air bison.
Okay, I have a question for you. How the fuck was Dave Patel in like the right spot when the beam hit the sky? Why was he even there to begin with?
He was just like wandering aimlessly. Basically, it's not done well in the movie, but he got burned, and then he was considered dishonored, and he was sent on an impossible task to find the Avatar, and everyone generally accepted the Avatar was dead. Like, the previous Fire Lord spent 100 years trying to find him, and they couldn't find him. So he was basically sending his son away, and they're just kind of like cruising location to location, like.
Yeah, so really, he's just searching every corner of the world. So like honestly, in the show, yeah, honestly, in the show, it's still a bit of coincidence, but everything else is done much better. So you just buy it more.
None of that was clear in the movie. I just thought he was exiled as general, and then he just happened to run into this dude who could bend a lot of shit, and then he went, "Oh yeah, no, I can be put back in my good graces," and that's it. That's where it began and ended.
In the show, it's a lot more visually. It's clear because his head is shaved except for one single ponytail. So he looks like all kind of like fucked up and dishonored. And he's got a much larger scar on his face.
They chickened out.
Yep.
They chickened out.
Yeah.
Give me the Dave Patel ponytail.
All right. So then after that, Aang, Katara, and Sokka travel to the Southern Air Temple, where Aang learns he's been frozen for 100 years. There's a war that's the Fire Nation against everyone else, and all the airbenders were killed in a genocide. He then goes into the Avatar state out of rage and also travels into the spirit world and talks with a dragon spirit.
Cool. Who was the dragon spirit? Why does it matter?
Okay, so in the show, it's spread out across 3 episodes, and basically the previous Avatar Roku, that was his companion that he would like fly on to where he needed to go. And
got you.
Originally in the show, Aang gets into like he has to solve the problem of a spirit, a big panda spirit who's angry and is destroying a village. And then while he's in the spirit realm helping the village, he runs into the dragon spirit, and the dragon spirit tells him that he needs to go to the fire temple where Avatar Roku was interred on the day of solstice, because that's when the barrier between the spirit realm and the real realm are at their thinnest. It's a very good entry point into the spirit world and introducing all this mysticism.
Yeah, honestly, the spirit world in the show is more complex, but because it's done over so many episodes, they can introduce you bit by bit. They really try to just simplify it for this movie, and like I'm not sure how successful they were in that.
I'm having a real moment of empathy right now, because now I know what it feels like when I tell people about the lore of One Piece. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. The Marines are bad because of all of these different reasons.
Anyway. Big mom, big woman, evil. And she fucks a lot. So many kids, all bigger than her and the husbands. It's very bizarre.
She's half giant. You don't get it.
She ate all of her friends.
And that's why the show is about freeing and liberating different countries. That's what this is.
All right. So while they're in the air temple, Zuko goes to a dinner hosted by Commander Zhao. And at the dinner, Zhao just reiterates Zuko's banishment and shame, which just a really weird dinner.
Dude, it was the thing. Okay, so I have 2 thoughts on this. The first was, as soon as he went, so as you all know, and went into like why Zuko was banished to begin with. Zuko was the only one whose name I kind of like captured the whole way throughout, him and Iroh. But before he talks about like, oh, this is what happened with the banishment, he goes, as you all know, and my screenwriter brain just went, well, then why are you telling us if everyone already knows? But the second part to this, the part where I'm so conflicted, is that character was low-key serving the whole time, just being at like having really fun with being evil. And so it kind of makes sense for him to like sit right next to the guy and be like, oh, and by the way, this is what happened to you, so you're just cosplaying today. And it was kind of worked. It kind of worked.
I'm just like, imagine your boss invited you over to dinner and you were like, all right, or your coworker invited your boss' sons over for dinner, and he sits down and he's just like, you know who the boss doesn't like? His sons. pieces of shit all together, and you're like, Jesus, work's gonna be awkward.
Yeah. Also, because this isn't the only time in the movie Zhao does something like this. Because there's a point later on where he's talking to Iroh, and he's just like, "Yeah, you're doing really well. Remember Ba Sing Se, where you failed and your son died?" Like, it's like, who does a conversation like this?
First, what the fuck happened in Ba Sing Se? I kept hearing it in the movie, but I'm like, I have no idea what's going on about this. And secondly, that analogy would definitely work if like the boss or some of the people like the boss's son, but nobody likes him.
Yeah, no
and he's like horribly mistreated. Why the fuck? What?
Okay, so the Ba Sing Se kind of set up the whole events of Avatar in the sense, or the current events, where in the Fire Nation, you had Fire Lord Azulan, and his son was Ozai, and he had two sons, Iroh and Ozai. Iroh was the older son and set to inherit the throne. Iroh was fighting the war, and they had sieged Ba Sing Se and even managed to get through the first wall, but it was just an absolute slaughter after that. So they ended up coming home once Iroh's son died. Ozai used that excuse to try and get Azulan to make him the primary heir. And as punishment, Azulan was going to kill Zuko. So then Ozai killed Azulan, and Iroh essentially got cast out of his position in the line of succession.
I also want to acknowledge, like, none of that is brought up in season 1 of the show. Like, that's brought up in season 2.
None of that's even brought up in the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, Ba Sing Se, they finally go there in season 2, but it is built up as the major stronghold of the Earth Nation.
Okay, copy. So that explains why Iroh is so goated.
Yeah.
The whole time. Copy.
He's the Dragon of the West. He's like everyone likes him.
Yeah.
I hated his introduction, but the character he became was just super sick. I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna be honest. He wasn't bad in this movie, but if you watch the animated show, Iroh is like the greatest character that's ever been written. Like, he is just that fucking guy.
Hell yeah.
Belton,
he's literally him.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right. And speaking of the Earth Nation, so Aang, Katara, and Sokka visit an Earth village where they're captured, put in prison. Aang reveals himself as the Avatar and helps lead and inspire the other Earthbenders to break out of prison. They then go to free other villages, and Aang tells Katara and Sokka he needs to master 3 more elements, so they decide to travel to the Northern Water Tribe to learn water.
Okay, is this village where the memes of the Cabbage Man come from?
No, so in the show, the Cabbage Man is more of a recurring joke where he pops up in multiple places, and the joke is that the antics of the gang just end up destroying his cabbage cart.
Does he become like the big bad at the end of the show?
No, he's just a running joke.
Oh no,
he's just like, they put him down.
Yeah.
Copy. Yeah, no, that tracked. The one thing, okay, so in my notes, I have this one thing at this point. So in the movie, they captured the gang at the air temple, and then they escorted them to the village. And they are literally prisoners of the fire folk, but he's just somehow able to like talk about revolution out in the open and move about really far away from the guards. What's going on? That just didn't track.
So that scene, it's pointed out as a major plot hole and flaw by like every fan, because in the episode that scene is taken from, the prison was on a metal warship, so the Earthbenders had no earth to bend, so it was this giant thing of they lost hope. But here, they are they're surrounded by Earth, so the Earthbenders, they have what they need to fight, because in the show, it's Katara that gives a speech about hope. The guards let it happen to see like how they'll react, and the Earth prisoners just go back to being prisoners. so it made more sense in the show, but here it just makes everyone look stupid.
Yeah, I was confused. I was just absolutely confused during this entire section. Cause like he basically pulls a Grant Gustin Flash and just like talks them into fighting back. And you're just there like like I've never seen anything like that happen in real life. This is crazy.
They didn't even need to fight back. They just need to bend a hole.
Yeah.
A single hole.
Yes.
And the thing is, they had the props for a warship because they had scenes on a warship, and the Fire Nation warships look pretty similar.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is like they were thinking of time and logistics and thinking, well, if we put them on a warship, we have to show them traveling to this warship.
This all centers around M. Night Shyamalan's dumb idea that he only makes 90-minute movies. He's like, how are we going to fit all this in 90 minutes? And people are like, just make it longer. Come on. Like,
oh
my God. Cool.
All right. Going on with the plot. So then as the gang travels, they're given a water scroll so Aang and Katara can start learning water bending. Aang decides to visit the Northern Air Temple where he's captured by Commander Zhao. He's freed by a figure known as the Blue Spirit, and as they escape, Aang learns the Blue Spirit is Zuko. So
okay. Yes. Why did he help again?
Because Zuko, part of Zuko's banishment is he'll only be accepted back if he captures the Avatar. So if Zhao returns to the Fire Nation with the Avatar, then there's no way for Zuko to go back and redeem himself.
Okay, and so again, why is he hell-bent on going back? Nobody likes him there.
Because I don't know, it's like a getting rejected by your parent thing.
Yeah, it's his honor.
Got it. Daddy issues.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Say less.
Also, keep in mind the Blue Spirit sequence was an entire episode of the show.
Okay, well, it was a fun sequence, that's for sure. Because I watched this movie for the first time when I was a lot younger, so I have like vague images from the film. I was thinking that the Blue Spirit, which I just thought was masked vigilante for some reason, but I was thinking the Blue Spirit is going to turn out to be the white-haired girl, white-haired lady, but it was not, and I'm like, okay, cool. Why? And that's it. That's all I got in my notes.
All right, so moving on with the plot. Zhao realizes or suspects the Blue Spirit is Zuko and tries to kill him by blowing up his ship. The gang arrives in the Northern Water Tribe to learn water bending, and the Fire Nation then attacks. Zuko captures Aang. Zhao goes after the Moon Spirit and kills the Moon Spirit to strip the Water Tribe of their bending. Princess Yue of the Northern Water Tribe, who was given this life from the Moon Spirit as a baby, gives her life to revive the Moon Spirit. Zhao's killed by waterbenders. And Aang goes into the Avatar state to create a giant wave to drive off Fire Nation's ships. In the end, everyone bows to Aang as the Avatar, and Fire Lord Ozai learns of the defeat and sends out Princess Azula to capture the Avatar. And that's the end.
Does that happen in the show where he just like makes a giant wave appear?
Oh no! In the show, it's so much better. He uses the Avatar state to let the Ocean Spirit use his body to create a giant water fish monster and just starts destroying the Fire Nation fleet.
At one point,
that's so much better.
He does the wave, and it like is massive, and then he just goes like, and he's just knocking ships back at like 500 miles an hour. It's a total rout. They don't just leave. The entire fleet's destroyed.
I think I wrote something. I can't find it here because it's just an absolute mess. I don't know if you guys can see. But I think I wrote something along the lines of why is a tall body of water scary? Because the shot that we see it from is like like a very low shot, like a low angle shot, where we can see the wall, and then we see the water rise like maybe a foot or 2 feet above the wall, and that's enough. And I was like, I don't. What's going on here?
I mean,
don't
the thing is,
understand.
it would have been scary if he used it as a giant tsunami, which I think was the expected thing.
Yeah. I think they
They
just
should have
ran.
shot that in a different way.
I think they just ran out of VFX money
Yeah.
or something. Like either that or they went to the CGI people and they're like, "Hey, we want a big fish monster," and they're like, "How about a tall wave?" For the money you have left, we can do a tall wave, and that'll cut 10 minutes off the movie.
Oh yeah, no, I have a lot of thoughts on the VFX.
And Shyamalan was like, 10 minutes out of 100 minutes? I'll do
He's
it.
like,
Let's take it.
We can get this from 90 down to 75.
Deal.
All right, yeah. There's a lot of notes on the production because this is probably the most like publicized movie we cover on the podcast. So as mentioned before, this is adapted from the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which ran on Nickelodeon from 2005 to 2008. The movie with M. Night Shyamalan as a director was announced in 2007 before the third season aired. And, going through some of the casting, so Noah Ringer was cast as Aang off a video audition he submitted. He grew up with martial arts experience, so he just shot essentially what's a fan-made video. He shaved his head, put the arrow on, and showed off martial arts skills at his dojo. Nicola Peltz was cast as Katara. In an interview leading up to the film, Shyamalan claimed he didn't want to make the film without her, which he has only said previously about Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense. Of course, Nicola Peltz's father is a billionaire. So after a movie came out, there was a rampant rumor, I could not confirm where that essentially she super nepoed her way into the role.
I mean, that explains why she was so wooden the whole way through.
What else was she in? She was in something else.
Yeah, her next notable role was Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Yeah, that's the movie where there's a 19 or a 20-year-old dating a 17-year-old, and he carries around an index card with the Romeo and Juliet law for Texas, where Mark Wahlberg's like, "You're dating my daughter, a minor?" And he's like, "Actually, I'm a card-carrying creep."
Yeah, they also recite the law like word for word.
Do you guys ever watch good movies on the show?
For our Oscar special.
And for April Fool's Day. We've
Cool.
done
Sounds good.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. And
Goodfellas.
And
Nice.
Goodfellas.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds... Age of Extinction sounds like a wonderful time when you're drunk and with friends.
Yeah. And then also an interesting tidbit of casting. Pop star Jesse McCartney was originally cast as Zuko. Now, the official explanation that production gave was that his tour dates conflicted with the times they had for training for the role. So he was replaced with Dev Patel. However, McCartney claims he was replaced for political reasons, which leads into the biggest controversy of this movie pre-release, the whitewashing of the characters. So if you watch the show, it's clearly influenced by various Asian and Native American cultures. The character designs reflect this. And so the movie comes out, clearly most of the main characters are played by white actors. And the only prominent characters played by Asian actors were the Fire Nation, who were played by Indian and South Asian actors, whereas in the show, the Fire Nation is more based on Imperial Japan. So yeah, it is a bad look when like your only people of color are the villains who are darker than they were in the show.
Okay, so I have a note on this, which is exactly that. Like, why the fuck are the bad guys brown? And okay, part of me was like, oh, am I a white man all of a sudden? Is this how like most white people feel? But then I thought about it and I went, no, that can't be it, because like there's, okay, look, deep down inside, I think there's a very beautiful film about imperialism here. I think there's something really cool about it, but they just casted all the brown people as bad guys, and I'm just sitting there like, what? M Night, you're like part Indian. We have so many cool movies in Bollywood about like revolutionaries and people fighting against the British. Just stick one of those in here. Just steal from there. What's going on? Anyway,
Yeah,
just,
no, honestly, like, M. Night Shyamalan's responses, some of this does kind of make me believe like Jesse McCartney's political reason point of view, because in an interview leading up to it, he said that there are 23 speaking roles in the movie, and over half of them were from Pan-Asian actors, and he said because this was originally planned to be a movie trilogy, this will be the most culturally diverse tentpoles ever released, which I think right now that's the Fast and Furious movies. Like, I'm not even saying that as a joke. I seriously think it is. It's like that and Black Panther movies, which depends how much you consider it a tentpole within like the whole Marvel franchise.
Sure.
Yeah.
God damn. Wait, hold on. So you said it was supposed to be culturally diverse?
M. Night Shyamalan said it would be the most culturally diverse tentpoles ever.
Yeah, that's not the movie we saw, though.
No, it's not.
Like, he said that knowing we were going to see the movie. Like, why even say it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'm
just confused.
Yeah, I think like leading up to the movie, M. Night Shyamalan is just someone who will say anything to promote it. But yeah, this movie came out June 30th, 2010, on budget of $150 million. It earned just under $320 million at the box office. Currently stands at 5% on Rotten Tomatoes, 3.9 out of 10 on IMDb. It was nominated for 9 Razzies. It won 5, nice, including Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay. All the subsequent sequels were canceled. And, you know, obviously, since then, a lot of people associated with the movie and franchise were asked about this at a 2014 fan event. Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, who were the co-creators of the original series, they claimed they didn't want the movie at all, but once it was in motion, they tried to offer support, but there was a falling out. In a 2013 Reddit AMA, Dante Basco, who was the original voice of Zuko, said he never saw the movie because the creators told him not to. In a 2016 Hollywood Reporter roundtable, Dev Patel described the film as watching a stranger on screen and said that after that experience, he stayed away from big studio films.
Hats off to him. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he basically the way he talked about it, it's like, have you ever talked to a friend who was blackout drunk the night before and explained all the stuff they did? It felt like that was his experience watching the movie. Just like, oh shit, I stole a traffic cone, punched a bouncer, and starred in The Last Airbender.
Well, that makes sense because he was the only one acting. Him, Zhao, and the Water Tribe teacher.
Yeah.
They were the only three people actually acting, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also in a 2019 Twitter thread, Aaron Ahaz, who was the head writer of the show, claimed that they were developing ideas for a fourth season. Nothing was confirmed at the point, but the movie's failure just killed all that momentum.
That's
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, I mean the Avatar franchise has still lived on. It received a sequel series in Legend of Korra. However, uh, a lot of fans speculate because the movie was such a disaster, Nickelodeon did not handle it well. It was only approved for one season at a time, so it was hard for them to create an overall series arc. And then most recently, they released an animated movie, Avatar: Aang, The Last Airbender, which centers on an older version of the original cast of characters. I also feel like they called it that so that when you search Last Airbender movie, this piece of shit isn't the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, I was trying to find the cast list, and it was just like it took me 5 scrolls down Google to find it.
Yeah, it's kind of like why when you Google Disney Frozen, you no longer see a conspiracy theory.
What happens when you Google Disney Sound of the South?
You,
I haven't tried that. I don't want that in my search history. But yeah. No, but yeah, like that's the history of this film. So, Annanya, do you have any more general thoughts?
I have so many. Dude, like I think in many ways this movie was way ahead of its time. Because I think if you gave Mr. Beast Avatar, The Last Airbender, and said, "Hey, make a movie," this is exactly what would happen. Because it has the same energy of like I am Katara, the Water Tribe girl. I ran into this man stuck in an iceberg for hundreds of years. But oh no, his entire family is dead. Womp womp. It's
Yeah,
the same thing.
honestly, that's kind of my feeling. Like watching this, I kind of feel like this film wasn't adapted from the first season. It was adapted from the Wikipedia page of the first season.
Yes,
Because it's like there's
go.
a lot of stuff in the first season that are just stuff in there, but it's like they didn't even try to provide the context or emotional beat that made it have a lasting impact.
Yes.
my thing.
A
Sorry.
note. Oh, I'm so sorry,
No, you
Chris.
go.
I completely agree with that. Because one of the notes that I've written multiple times is like, why is this movie in a fucking rush? Why aren't they letting anything breathe? So there we go.
I think the issue and the biggest issue with this movie is they just picked the wrong director. M. Night beforehand
Yes.
was known for rather serious suspense horror films. He had no experience in large-scale CGI. He didn't have a lot of experience in action. He didn't have experience in expansive stories with a lot of world building. He just didn't have what it takes. And I think what you're watching is a man slowly drown under the expectations on him.
Yeah, because I mean, if you watch any of his films, even his best films, and then watch the show, they are completely different tones. The show has a lot of humor. Aang's character is rooted in being fun and goofy, and you just would not use those words to describe like The Sixth Sense or Signs.
So in I think on that, I think Matthew Vaughn would have been a much better director because in 2007 he like directed I think one of my favorite fantasy films of all time, Stardust. you guys seen it?
No.
I haven't seen that. I think I'm
Oh.
familiar with. Well, I do know who Matthew Vaughn is. He directed Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, and Kingsman. So
There we go.
I think I do understand your line of thinking. I do. He would be a much better fit for this.
Who did the first Harry
exactly.
Potter?
I believe that's Chris Columbus.
I think he could have pulled it off too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, because Chris Columbus, he also did Home Alone. I'm pretty sure.
Like he.
Oh.
I think the other thing is like the disconnect between the CGI and what the actors were doing just shows a lack of experience. Like it's almost like he couldn't picture what was going to be happening in the shot.
Yeah, because there are a lot of times where it felt like the VFX coordinator and stunt coordinator, choreographer just did not talk to each other. Because I know a lot of people like to make fun of the Earthbender prison sequence where you have like 5 guys doing that choreographed dance to just toss a rock the size of a softball. But also on the other side of that, at the end of the movie, when Aang's doing that giant wave, he's doing like all these weird movements that don't correlate, which I feel like someone could easily direct be like, oh no, it actually makes more sense for you just hold your arms up and tremble.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with that, but yeah, go on.
I don't know. I think there's also like in the animation, you can get away with some extra arm movements, but in live action, every extra second of arm movement better have a purpose or look cool. And it just kind of looks like they're flailing their arms and every move takes a long time. And
I actually didn't mind that much, if I'm being honest. I thought it was kind of cool. It was there was this TV show, I don't remember the name, but I see clips of it everywhere of like Merlin doing crazy little hand jutsus just to do magic. It gave it that kind of quality, so I didn't honestly mind that much, if I'm being honest.
I mean, so going off of that, I think because the hand movement stuff, I've seen like interviews and behind the scenes stuff of like Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Scarlet Witch in the MCU, and Justice Smith, who's a sorcerer in the Dungeon and Dragon movie. They were talking about how they were given some creative movement with their magic, but they were just using their hands. And I feel like for VFX artists, that's more of a centralized place to for everything to happen, as opposed to huge body movements. Because one thing about the original show, they don't waste body movements with bending a lot. And then also, the bending is based on actual martial arts, so it just looks better and correlates to fighting and movement more. They also did have like an actual team of martial artists to play out all the fights as much as you humanly can for the animators to reference. So I think when you contrast that with the movie where it feels like the choreography was less focused, it really stands out.
I will say though, there was this one part towards the end of the movie that I think inspired Zack Snyder for the rest of his career. It was this like long shot of Aang fighting a bunch of dudes, and then the camera would just like pan in and then out, and then in and then out at different moments. And my note, as soon as I saw that, was like, finally, at the end of the movie, they do something interesting with how they shoot the action.
Yeah, honestly, that was an interesting shot that I think worked well, which I think there are certain shots, especially in the final battle with the Northern Water tribe, where it's just like, oh yeah, that's an interesting shot. That works. It's just like in the middle of all this mess, because also going off of that, I didn't like the coloring for a lot of this, especially with all the night scenes, because it's like with the Blue Spirit sequence, it was dark, and then also the Blue Spirit mask did not have a lot of contrast on it, so it was really hard to read.
I didn't know it was supposed to be blue until you mentioned it. I just thought it was a black spirit mask.
Yeah, and then also in that whole Blue Spirit fight, there are various times where the Blue Spirit is literally just swiping at nothing. Like, they did not choreograph it enough to just put a soldier in front of him for his sword to hit.
No, the problem was they got the same choreographers from Dark Knight. Oh, please tell me so. Oh, yes! You guys get my reference.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, there's so much here because, like, I feel like Shyamalan was very interested in that final fight, but it took him like it just he just wanted to get to that spot because the pacing up until that spot was just excruciating. And then when we got to the Water Tribe, that's when I started having fun with the movie because I have a note here that says like brother and white hair lady are cute, which is good. I want moments like that, you know?
Yeah, I just think that's kind of like I mean, first off, I think trying to adapt a 20 episode season into a single movie is always a recipe for failure. But for this show in particular, it's tough because season 1 of the show is essentially a giant road trip. So like if you were to adapt it, my first instinct would be to treat it like a road trip movie where they make all these stops and have fun adventures along the way. But then you do run into the issue that the Northern Water Tribe in the show takes up 3 whole episodes and is a pretty dense season finale. So there's not a whole lot you can cut from it. And going off of that back to my earlier point about having moments that don't have the same impact. Sokka's relationship with Yue is missing a lot from the show that made it special because in the show the relationship signifies how much Sokka's grown over the course of the season, which in this movie he just doesn't have character development. And then also it depicts Yue as someone who serves their people and is somewhat restricted as that. And Sokka just gives her the space to have this freedom. But they don't establish any of that. So their relationship is just there. And it's really awkward when they're having a conversation and Yue just exposition dumps everything about the moon spirit giving her life. That's why her hair is white, because that is important to have to pull off the finale, but there isn't like proper space for it.
Yeah, but I will say that was, I think, what the moment when I wrote they're cute because she had this line, which I was like, oh, great, good dialogue. She had this line that said something that was like, oh, why didn't I know this? And she goes, you never asked, your grandmother did. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. More of that, please. But anyway.
They cut out, so did they run out of money in the Arctic and that was what they shot first and then they started cutting stuff after that? Was that rumor true?
Yeah, so there is a rumor because the Water Tribe scenes were shot in Greenland on location, and then the rest of the movie was shot between sound stages and outdoor space in Pennsylvania. I could not find a source to confirm that.
Okay, but there was supposed to be a scene where Sokka has another love interest that's all about dismantling his misogyny, where it's like a badass female warrior and he walks in and he's just like, yeah, I guess I could show you some moves, and they kick his ass, and then he comes back and he's like, it would mean a lot to me if you would train me because you guys are really strong and I'm sorry for being an ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so those are the Kyoshi warriors. They did actually shoot some stuff with the Kyoshi warriors. It's hard to say how much in depth they went with that, but they did. But like there are behind scene pictures of actresses dressed up in their uniforms, but that didn't make the final cut of the movie. And that's an episode early on to the season that is pivotal for Sokka's character development because it literally they beat the misogyny out of him,
and it's also just like fun.
Yeah,
it involves Aang riding giant koi fish and getting into a wrestling match with a 800-foot long eel.
Yeah, they
and it's all about how he's doing all this to impress Katara and the fact that he's letting being the avatar go to his head. It's like Great plot episode, character episode.
What the fuck?
Yeah, if you're just listening, we can see we are blowing Annanya's mind right now.
Dude, Ong throughout this movie was passive as fuck. Apart from that one scene where he does a Luffy impression, and that's about it. Which is where the what's his name, Zuko's like searching for him, and Ong's like behind him going blah blah, moving side to side, sashaying. And then other than that, I was like, fuck, he's so passive. But what you're telling me right now is that we could have had an entire scene of him like doing fun shit.
So
what the fuck?
Wait, I need to explain to you how badly they took all the joy out of this movie. Sokka is the funny guy who constantly pops off jokes. Aang is a delight who runs around being like positive, mischieful. Like when he breaks out of the room on the Fire Nation ship, when he jumps over the person and he like runs up the wall, he goes, "I bet you've never fought an airbender before." And then he like, it's delightful.
Yeah. Also, in the Northern Water Tribe, in the show, it's a thing that the Northern Water Tribe doesn't teach waterbending fighting to women. So Katara literally fights Paku, basically fighting the patriarchy for the right to learn waterbending.
Oh my god, these characters are wonderful.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to meet them.
Yeah.
Normally, the Northern Air Tribe the Northern Air Temple is an episode where there's a whole community centered around an eccentric inventor who invented an air vent system so that his disabled son could fly around the Northern Air Temple via like a hang glider wheelchair attachment.
Oh, this is amazing.
Also, hold on. So the Water Tribe scroll that, someone in the Earth Nation just hands Katara and Aang, I want you to take a wild guess how they get that scroll in the show.
I definitely not from a cupboard that's just been locked.
They fight a bunch of pirates. They steal it from pirates and then get into a on the river fight that ends with both ships falling over a waterfall.
Why the fuck did I spend so long watching One Piece? I should have been watching Avatar.
It's a great show. You should really watch it if you have enough time.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of stuff was taken away, like because with Katara fighting the patriarchy in the North, it feels like they couldn't have that in this movie because they don't have enough to build up how much he wants to be a waterbender, especially because they get the scroll, and anytime her and Aang are, quote, practicing waterbending, they're not waterbending. They're doing just like this weird Tai Chi dance that isn't doing anything. I don't know if that's something where they ran out of VFX money.
I think they ran out of VFX
Yeah,
money.
because they also do it in the Northern Water Tribe when they're surrounded by water and ice.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, that scene to me was just reminiscent of Mulan 2, where she's like just bending in the wind and going like a cloud, I am soft. And so in my head, I was like, oh yeah, you gotta move like water first before. But that's probably giving the movie far too much credit.
They just made these characters flat as hell. I can't imagine what the director's
tell me about it.
notes were like. They're like, yeah, don't react to that.
Yeah, which is also weird.
No.
That's it. That's exactly.
It seems like your face
That's exactly what he said.
Be doing something. Just stop that. No smiling. No frowning. Oh yeah, that person just died. Just pretend like they don't even exist.
Yeah, which is weird.
We're trying to be a Wes Anderson film. God damn it. We're trying to be Wes Anderson.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they also shoot a lot of just general conversations where instead of the back and forth, you just stay on one person for a while, which is not particularly a bad directing choice, but it's one where it really highlights the actors, but you're not having the actors do much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fucking like I'm watching this thing and literally no character has fucking agency. Nothing's happening because the characters are making it happen. The plot's happening to them and they're just like not reacting to it. And that's the whole movie.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so disheartened. I had to save the little film nerd that I have inside of me by watching a mediocre James Bond film.
All right, but with this being our 50th episode, we did ask our past guests for any thoughts they have on this. Most of them either haven't watched it or it's been so long they don't remember it, which good for them. Anna Levy did say she's a big Dev Patel fan, so she's always wanted to watch it. Which, Anna, if you're listening, I don't think Dev Patel wants you to watch this movie.
No, it's very clear. But although like Dev Patel is great, so I would if you had to just watch the parts with Dave Patel in it, you could be lulled into thinking that this was a good movie.
And then, Otter Lee commented that it causes a stir in the UK because their bender is the equivalent of homo. So anytime someone said it in British theaters, the audience went wild.
That actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he also commented on the casting and whitewashing, and he said it's crazy that he made the Fire Nation, which is imperialistic Japan, coded a melting pot of brown actors. He just thought, ooh, spicy.
I'm just taken aback by the thought that the British invented chicken jockey before it became a thing.
And then Vera Perez decided to rewatch the movie and just messaged me thoughts as she was watching it. Some of them include it's such a shame Dev Patel is in this. Surprisingly decent amount of VFX, with the exception of Appa and Momo, which are terrible, but the environments are good for 2010. More complaints about race swapping. In general, the movie and bending is absolutely underwhelming. Some of the action scenes make it feel like Shyamalan really wanted to make a Michael Bay film. And then she also said, in the final battle, I'm pretty sure I see Fire Nation soldiers fighting other Fire Nation soldiers, as well as half of them just swinging their swords around absolutely nothing.
Oh my god. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. I completely buy that because what the fuck is continuity in this movie? It just doesn't exist.
And then Nessa Hunt retold her account of seeing this in theaters when she was 13. Said one of the worst parts. She went with a group of her 13-year-old friends, and every time they mispronounced Aang, they shouted the right pronunciation for the entire film. And
yes.
And then also said one of the worst parts was that Zuko no longer had a cool ass scar, and no longer made her feel all tingly in her stomach. She also adds, sorry to Dev Patel, who's very handsome now. And she said she will give this movie credit because since everyone hated it, it meant no one wanted the official merch, which means she could buy 3 promotional Fire Nation shirts on clearance at Hot Topic.
Let's go. Hey man, someone's loss.
Yeah, there's a silver lining in everything.
I was thinking,
damn
I'm
right.
way over here. I was like, M. Night Shyamalan introduced the concept of disappointment to so many kids, where they're all they're like, I love the show. Oh, this is going to be so great. And then it's just like, oh, yeah? Well, sometimes things in life don't work out.
Oh yeah, because you can go on YouTube. There are news stations that like went to people who are just coming out of the midnight screening. So it's people in full cosplay going like, this was the worst experience of my life.
I feel so bad for him, man. Luckily, I have Indian parents growing up, so disappointment, water off a duck's back. We're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're nearing the end of my time. So, Annanya, thank you for coming on. I feel like this movie took a couple years off your life.
Yes, you guys wasted exactly 90 minutes of my life.
Well, the nice thing
I
is,
hope you're happy.
Since it's M. Night, it was only 90 minutes.
Yeah, we could.
Yes, that's
we could
correct.
pick a Zack Snyder film, and you'd be sat for 4 hours.
Yeah, that would have sucked. But yeah, well, I guess silver lining. That seems to be the theme of today. Silver lining, indeed.
Yeah. All right.
It was just a pleasure to watch an award-winning film.
Yeah. So, Annanya, where can people follow you and your work?
Yes. So on YouTube, you can actually if you want to watch documentaries that are better than Avatar: The Last Airbender, which isn't a very high bar, but it's still a bar nonetheless. Supernatural Hangover is the place to go. I make short little docs about the shows and the tricks that we develop here at the studio, so it's a fun time.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Film versus Movie. Thank you, everyone. If you're just tuning in for the first time, or if you followed us for all 50 episodes, we've appreciated your support for every single one of them, and look forward to more. I'm Belton DeLaine-Facey.
And my name's Chris Shurr.
And if you like this, be sure to follow us, give us a like and 5 stars wherever you listen, and we will see you all next time.